Hey guys, I'm here with Adam May. He's the founder of Made by Meigh, and he does some really cool things. As you can see on the screen, we got the main setup here, a bunch of stuff that he has 3D printed at his house. We're going to talk to him in a little bit, but here are some clips or some photos of what he has printed in the past. So what's going on, Adam?
Hey, not much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming by. I see what we've shown so far. That's honestly amazing. Like the detail on that is crazy. I mean, I'm even blown away on the iPhone quality, honestly. But like, it shows every detail, and it shows how well crafted everything is.
Thanks, man.
What got you started in 3D printing?
I originally started with 3D printing just because I do CNC for a living. And when I realized it's a miniature, affordable CNC machine, I kind of lost my mind. I fell in love with it.
Now, like, what is a CNC machine going from the start of everything?
Okay, a CNC machine is a computer numeric control.
Okay.
What that means, it's basically a computer-controlled robot. It's a large machine. Most of them are milling machines. What I specifically did was routers, so machines that would make your cabinets in your kitchen or in your bathroom.
Okay.
I worked for a company that manufactured them from scratch.
Now, do you, like, with those machines, do you kind of give them a template and they cut out things based off of what you input, or are they specific to, like, is it like considered like a hand tool, more so to say?
Oh no, it's heavily computer based. Everything's done through either 3D models or 2D models in AutoCAD, and you basically put a sheet of material on, give it a program, and it just runs.
That's pretty neat, and it's kind of cool. Like 3D printing from even a couple of years ago was just so far fetched. Like I remember going online and seeing these people that had 3D printers, and I know like this is something completely different, but like the pens that kind of 3D sculpt.
Yep.
I was always into that, and to me, even though I'm a nut and I buy like a ton of equipment for like my niche, I could never see myself spending something like that on a 3D printer. But I've always had so many ideas of what the fuck I'd 3D print. So, what kind of started your 3D printing process? Like, was it gaming? Was it just for fun aside from the comfortability of the work side? Like what it is,
Well,
like similar to a CNC machine?
in all honesty, my first delve into 3D printing was actually making a printer from scratch. So they had kits, they had really cheap printers back then that weren't all that safe. And I wanted it more for the hobby of making a printer. I didn't care what I printed at first, I just wanted to make a printer. So ordered some random parts, a little bit of this and that at the machine shop I worked at, and I was able to make a 3D printer from scratch. And after that, it was all about tuning it, making it better. As I went through, it's okay, now what do I make to show off that it's working really well? And it just went and grew and grew and grew until now I'm mainly into it for the finished product side of it. I'm into the prints, the parts, what I'm able to get off the printer.
So, for those of you that don't know Adam or myself, we kind of go way back. And Adam's always been the kind of guy to build his own PCs. He's been heavily into the gaming side of the PC world. So specs and all the newest tech, like he knows a lot about that stuff, far more than I do. So would you say that 3D printing is similar to like a PC build?
Not really, in all honesty. It's kind of the same mindset, like at least for me, that I want to know what's in my system. I want to know what it is. I want to know how it works. So there's a lot to a 3D printer where you can delve into the specs. You can delve into what different parts are, what makes it tick. Computers, especially now, are very kind of canned. They are what they are. You need X amount of components. They have specs that are compatible, and you kind of craft your PC based on what your demand is. Printers, you're either going to buy a pre-built printer or you're going to do what I did and just build one from complete scratch or a kit.
What would be like the benefits to building your own versus buying a pre-built? Like
Anybody I talk to, I would recommend buying a pre-built, 100%.
Mhm.
Cost for what you get, there's some really, really nice printers out there right now. Like two of my favorites are my Ender 3s.
Okay.
They're relatively cheap printers. It's easy once you know the software, once you know the process to get really good results. But they're good printers.
Now, as far as like a key factor in building your own printer, would one build their own printer for size of prints or quantity of prints, like how much it can handle, how runtime, stuff like that, or?
Yeah, typically especially in printers that most people can afford, you will get faster and larger build volumes out of a printer that you're either going to kit out or you're going to build from scratch.
Okay.
So if you go that route, like if you need something specific that's like a 500 mil build plate, you're probably going to end up going with a kit or kind of just custom fabbing it yourself.
Yeah.
Those printers to buy pre-bought are pretty expensive, and you could usually do better for your dollar by figuring out a kit or making something.
So you said it was a hobby at first. What were like the first things that you've ever 3D printed? Like, I'm not sure if you have them here or not, but like dive into the beginning, like failed adventures and like things that actually came out kind of cool.
There's actually some really cool videos from Prusa about their printer farm of just, they have hundreds of printers making more printers. It's awesome.
That's amazing.
So that was probably my first year of printing, was just improving and making the parts better and redesigning them, changing, tweaking them, and just making the printer better and better and better. And probably a couple of rolls of filament just in that first printer that I had, which actually I still have, just redesigning it and playing with it.
Would you say that it's now cheaper for you to build your own printer now that you have multiple printers? Like, I'm sure you have to buy the like electronic parts and kind of put them into the cases and stuff like that. But rather than buying a kit, if you pay for the material to make the parts for it and then get the electronics in there, does it come around to the same cost, or is it like beneficial to make your own printer?
It's pretty specific to build volume.
Okay.
Anything in what's kind of the common format now, which is roughly a 200 mil square build plate. In that format, it definitely is more cheap. It's cheaper and it's more efficient to buy a pre-built, ready-to-run printer. Once you're in that 3-4, definitely 500, it's a lot more cost efficient to build your own.
Okay, nice. So aside from printers, what else have you printed? You brought with you today some various different styles of what you can do with a 3D printer. Would you like to show the people watching what you've made so far?
All right, probably one of the first things I printed somewhat recently, something just for myself. I was redoing my game room, and as you can see, I'm a pretty big N64 junkie, so I was breaking that out, setting it up on the CRT TV that I got, and wanted something to display the games rather than just having them laying about or in a bucket. So I found actually this file's from Thingiverse. It's just a game stand that I'm able to put on top of my TV. I have a red one and a gray one. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people that like collect games. Here, I'll get a nice close-up of that again. Very nice. Oh, even the detail on the side, like, yeah, you have the controllers and the Nintendo in the front.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites because it's out all the time. I'm in that room all the time, and you know.
Yeah, and you can make them to hold like different amounts of games and stuff, or?
It depends on the file and the engineering behind it. So that one, just something that I knew that they would have already online. It's kind of pre-packed. I'm able to just download it, print it. Don't have to put a whole lot of engineering time into it.
Okay.
So that one, I can't change. To the original creator, I'm sure he could make it 2, 10, 20. If I wanted to do that, I could redraw it from scratch and then do it. But it would probably end up changing a little bit at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I would add my own custom stuff anyway at that point.
Absolutely. It's the fun of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would, just from, seeing that, think that if you're a gamer, I would contact you from, I'm sure you could do like controller holders or mounting plates, things to display your games. Also, figurines if you're into that kind of stuff too. I know that a lot of people that read comics or play video games, I am one of them myself. We collect all our favorite characters, and I know that you brought some of the characters that are iconic in today's world.
Yeah. Okay. So these two are off of the resin printer. Resin is relatively new to me, but resin is absolutely amazing for intricate, detailed stuff. Here, I'll hold these up while I'm talking.
Nice.
So Android 16,
Yeah, let me see one.
Mandalorian. There you go. Resin printing is really, really popular amongst like the D&D community or specific, whether it's Dragon Ball Z or Star Wars or anything you might want statues or figures for, and it just detail is through the roof on them. These are printed on. This is just a block printer. It's in Anycubic Photon Mono X. It uses a monochrome 4K display to burn the liquid resin into a hardened resin, and it kind of pulls it up out of the vat. It's an awesome process. It's a lot of fun to watch, and
Yeah, that looks pretty neat, and they're
really
super detailed. What I really like about them is the fact that, I mean, you can paint these, right? And like make them look like fresh.
Yep.
Now, is that something that you would sell them as to the customer? Hey, like it's a good hobby for like a child too. Like back in the day, I used to make models of like Gundams and cars and all that kind of stuff.
Same.
Some of them came painted, and some of them you can paint and like kind of do yourself, which I always found that as my like artistic outlet, even way before that, like paint by numbers, So I would see that like as a way more in-depth and intricate piece of that, just to have as a collectible, saying, you know what, like, yeah, I had somebody 3D print this, but I also put my own time into this also. So you can paint these, customize them yourself.
There is a huge community, specifically with resin printers, around model kit making. They design, and actually they would sell it to you just as you would buy from the store, where they're in the trays, they're punch out, they're ready to go. And yeah, people take them, they paint them, whether it's spray or hand brushing or whatever you want to do for your specific project. And yeah, people go nuts with it. I mean, I've seen some incredible stuff. I have about the painting ability of a crayon with a monkey. So painting's not really my thing, but I can get you to this point and then sell you either kits or sell you figures or D&D miniatures or whatever you need.
And it doesn't even stop there. I think in the beginning of this, before this was even a thought, you said you can do like custom armor plates for cosplay, like something much larger scale. Yes, so like, if you want to look like this guy, you could fucking make it. And what's cool is you can custom paint those as well. And I think that's really awesome, because you know how many stormtroopers came out after people started watching the new like Mandalorian season, and people would dress up like stormtroopers or Mandalorians, and they all had custom crazy armor. Like, yeah, you got the people that wanted to be iconic like the main character, but you can still just like make it your own. I mean, the Pokemon thing is real big right now too, so technically you could make a Team Rocket Mandalorian like crossover character, and I think just the endless options of that's awesome.
Mentioning Pokemon. But yeah, I mean, going back to the big prints, talking about the armor, I bought it's a kind of a pet project for me. It's a long-term thing. I plan on printing either a full Samus outfit or a full Stormtrooper outfit. I haven't quite decided which way I want to go. Might end up doing both. It just kind of time constraints for me. But I purposely bought it's a Sierra 10 Max. It's a 470 by 470 millimeter cubed build plate.
Okay.
So I could just about fit a full chest piece, as long as it's not like huge, like overly
like front and piece. Back. Like it would be like front one side, back the other side. And
just ready to go. So that's
awesome.
You don't have to deal with seams. You don't have to deal with crazy sanding and welding them together like you see on a lot of that stuff. Helmets you could easily do on it one piece, no problem. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was actually the intent of me buying that one. I love the thought of having a full suit of armor, and
I'm real big into that stuff too. And like, I know that you paintball, and I don't know how well that is rated for paintball, but I'm sure like I don't even know who I'm going to be shouting out right now, which sucks. But there's somebody on my Facebook feed, and if you're watching this, please comment. You do like Predator. He does like Predator costumes for paintball.
For paintball, yeah.
And like, just the detail that goes into it is crazy, and I love seeing their stuff, and it's always just kind of cool to see when that pops up and like the additions to the armor or the gear.
Any chance that Predator guy you follow is like red and black themed?
I'm gonna say it sounds familiar, but I can't really pinpoint it.
Okay, on a couple of the specifically the Proflex groups I'm in for paintball, somebody does that, and he has a modified Proflex that's Predator out, and it looks incredible. So I mean, yeah, you could do stuff like that, no problem. Basically, I mean, from
Even his gun is like predatored out, like, or no?
he has a like a garb over it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit more like camo-ish style, but yeah, I mean, it looks
Oh, this one
awesome.
looks like something straight out of a fucking video game. Like, it's gnarly.
But yeah, I mean, you could definitely rock that stuff for paintball. Basically, from like a legal standpoint, I'm going to say you have to still wear your mask. But
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, anything else decorative, anything else on top of it, yeah, go for it. It's a ton of fun and make you look badass and run with it.
I feel like we should play paintball one day and get me in a Mortal Kombat female style costume.
I love that you specified female.
Female, yeah. I want
like,
something to
mostly
show my
exposed.
nipples a little bit.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I know a lot of people that cosplay. I even talked to one of my friends who would actually like to meet you. His name is Picardi Arty.
Okay.
Just throwing his name out here also. Why not? Just say hello to everybody.
Oh, sounds good. I'd love to meet him.
He makes these robots, and he's going to be on my personal podcast down the road. We're all starting to get busy now, but he goes out with these LED robots where a human will be inside of them and walk around and dance to the music, interact with the crowd, and they're all lit up with LED panels everywhere. I mean, he's got one for like Fox News with like a screen. So as far as like building armor, like that can hold a screen,
Oh yeah.
like it's just square rectangle cutouts, you know what I mean? Or little pieces of armor with a certain diameter hole for an LED to pop through, like if you put them down in a strip.
And actually, that's something that I started with on the engineering side for me is functional stuff.
Okay.
So like, I would love to get involved with a project like that. If you want to give me a shout out, we'll work together, do some collaborative stuff. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of that stuff is actually, I don't want to say it's easy, but most of that stuff is pretty straightforward. Where it's easy to get good quality, good functional parts off 3D printers without going nuts.
Because you're just, it's pretty much just like a geometrical shape at that point,
Right.
too.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. You need to make sure your dimension right. You need to make sure that it's shaped in proportion correctly for the parts you're putting into it, but it's nothing too over the top. So compared to what people had to do in the past is you'd have to go to a machine shop. You'd have to draw it up. You'd have to get it designed and figured out and be hopefully pretty damn sure that you're right.
Yeah.
And then send it out for quote for machine shops, and people would be paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the stuff, and it's just
Yeah, and now you can do it from your living room or,
Yep.
you know, your house.
Yep. Or yeah.
Yeah. Your studio.
Yeah, my house specifically.
You inspired
hopefully.
me with the lighting, and that's what's cool too, because like I know that you know how to solder and put things together very well. You're great with wire management. You're kind of like a freak like me when it comes to that stuff.
Thank you.
So having somebody that's detail attentive and like aware, that's gonna make or break me going to, you know, for you to somebody else. Like that would push me more towards, you know, buying off of you. Because you can do mass quantities. It's going to be from small to large scale, and now you're also saying that we can incorporate functional stuff like LEDs. And I that goes back to me talking to you about the studio. I know a lot of guys that have a studio and they're doing all this podcasting stuff, exactly what we're doing here today.
Yep.
And from anything from clock interfaces, like if you have an LED clock and you want to put like a skin over it, like 3D printed skin, or on-air sign with LEDs. I think that would be really cool because not only are LEDs cheap and easy to use and to solder, but nowadays you can buy changing color LEDs, so you can have a different colored fucking on-air studio thing whenever you want, and that's kind of cool.
It's awesome because sky's the limit. You know, it really is with this level of technology that we've gotten into, this point of 3D printers where it just, I mean, things are awesome. You could think of it, and if you have access to certain things. So like if you're a maker, but you're more focused on the electrical engineering side of it.
Yeah.
All right. It's the same side with me. I can't be focused on everything. Like, okay, we talked about the paint. I'd love to learn how to paint some of the models and miniatures, but my focus is printing.
That gives people also more of a creative side too. So it's not just being done for them 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, and if you have a project like that and your energy, your focus, your passion is the electrical engineering, it's the figuring out how to make this work, how to make that RGB tick to the music or whatever it is that you're doing, that's your focus, that's your passion. You can come to somebody like me and, okay, my passion and your passion, now let's make it work.
Yeah.
You know what?
Speaking about that, actually, my passion is audio and production. And one of the main key factors in how I run my business is neatness and organization. And I know that you've got something right below you that would be killer in a mic rack. So I'm going to switch the camera over to Adam here. All you sound guys out there, whether it be rechargeable batteries or batteries like this, you can make battery houses for like cases for your stuff. This way they're not flying around all over your drawers, and you could make one color for deads and one color for the ones that are full. This way you don't have to throw them on the ground and be an asshole.
That is a good idea. I bet you there's plenty of people watching that would use like a rechargeable battery, like a rechargeable AA, and just switch it from black to red.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I just wanted to look kind of cool instead of printing it all.
It gives me like a cool Lego vibe, and I'm all about that. But I mean, I just spoke with somebody today. Shout out to Joe Barricata for the Joe Barricata Band. I mean, he has a ton of batteries now for his wireless. It's actually right here. I got to put it in my trailer. But he got wireless in-ears, wireless microphones, and we just built that rack today, which is kind of cool.
Very cool.
But right now, like, our batteries are just like willy-nilly, just chilling.
Yeah, hanging in a compartment
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think he might actually be interested in buying one of those battery holders. I'll have to... You better be watching, Joe. I'm calling you out right now. If you don't, I'm not even going to say anything to you, and I just know that when you see this, you can reach out to me and give me like a yay or a nay.
Or just say the word battery holder.
Yeah, just comment. Give me a middle finger, something. But aside from the battery holder, I see we got some more gaming stuff or gaming themed.
Definitely a gaming theme. This is probably my only current project that I'm running. It's not finished, but I mean, I got through the initial 3D printing. Mm-hmm. I'm also an N64, Ocarina of Time, Zelda, of course. I'm a big time Ocarina of Time junkie. So this is done with translucent filament and silk filament.
Yeah.
See that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I was going to say the colors are a little bit different on this one, which I like. It's more detailed and flashy.
Yes. So I try and distinguish between the filament that I use between structural and cosmetic. Mm-hmm. So these, I mean, and you can kind of hear this is not really the strongest, actually.
Yeah.
You kind of like hear the brittleness. This is not going to be the strongest filament. This is not going to be something you want to use like for a battery holder or for a cup holder or something like that, but it looks great.
Yeah, this is like an aesthetic piece, more of a novelty item.
Exactly. Mixed with the translucent, and these are actually printed hollow.
Okay.
So the plan is to put some LEDs in them.
Yeah.
And make a display stand for them so they light up respectively blue, red, and green, and have it on a shelf in probably my game room.
Yeah.
It might be with this business going on. I'm kind of thinking about kind of putting this out of different game shops and whatnot.
Yeah.
Seeing if anybody will kind of sponsor it and put it on display and just kind of like, hey, check out this really cool piece we got.
Yeah. Anybody on Facebook, if you see this and you want some based off of a video game that you're really into, please contact Adam. Again, the name is Made by Meigh. Do you have a Facebook page for it right now, or you do? Made by Meigh. You can find Adam Made by Meigh on Facebook. I know that there's a website in the works and an Instagram and all that, but when all that is available, I will make sure to go back in this link and put the tags. But for now, check them on out over at Facebook at Made by Meigh.
Insta is up. It's just at Made by Meigh.
Okay, Instagram is up. You guys heard him. I see we have one more thing, and this I don't know if we're allowed to say like who you've been making these for, but this is a functional piece of equipment for your car and on the go.
Okay, so it's fine for us to talk about this.
Cool.
I will put in a caveat that this is a water bottle holder instead of just a cup holder. This is for the USPS truck, so this is something that's super specific. This is what started me actually doing this as a business. That I was just about the point where like I know that I could start selling prints. I have my qualities almost really close to perfect. My functional stuff is really strong, really productive. But I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to break in and do it. And after talking to a couple of people and selling these to post office employees, they fell in love with them. Some of them had already had something similar. or had this exact one from somebody else, and they fell in love with it. It's almost like a necessity for them, and it broke. The person that they got it from didn't print it strong enough, or they didn't use ABS. And ABS was kind of my specialty from printing all those printer parts, because you really need something that's heat resistant and strong for making printers.
Yeah.
So I got pretty good at it, rather than doing all PLA like a lot of other printers do. That they print PLA, it's what they do because it's easy to work with, it's cheap, it's abundant. So I'm very comfortable working with ABS.
And this is more structural.
Yes.
Right.
So, and you'll notice that there are, like this, I would still consider this a pretty good looking part, but it's not perfect. It is more of a functional part. So rather than me overproducing on the quality side, and the aesthetic would probably be the right word.
It has
for
a purpose, and it serves its purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm able to, I don't know if it would be cool to talk prices on this, but just to give an idea of, I consider this myself relatively cheap. I'm still relatively new. I would rather deal with volume and have more happy customers, have more repeat customers. So
get the name out there a little bit more.
Exactly. So I try and keep my prices down. This part was selling for $15 a piece, and it's a functional part. And
now I see it has a clip. Is that specific to the mail truck?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah. So this clips on their trays.
Okay.
This is so that when they put their water bottle on their in the mail truck, it goes right next to where they're driving. It fits pretty much perfectly, and it just keeps everything in place for them.
That's pretty awesome. So you can find Adam again on Facebook and Instagram at Made by Meigh. These are some of the photos again of what we showed in this episode, and I'll give you some time to review these.
Yeah. Review the goodness.
Yeah, just the quality on these things are spectacular.
I'm in love with the resin. I can't get over printing with it.
Yeah, just the detail alone. And this is what we were just showing before, the cup holder. You can really kind of see like the translucent material and the colors in there, and it's a pretty solid piece, I must say.
Yeah, that one is the one that I'm going to be working on the most on in my spare time, is getting that mount set up and getting the LEDs. So that'll probably be on my Insta probably in the next, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Very nice. All right, Adam, thanks for coming in. It was a pleasure having you in the studio, and we are going to look forward to seeing you again and some of the newer stuff that you have printed. Also, when we collab with some of the other guys I've mentioned, if you guys are interested, I would really like to do like a full robot or like audio gear and stuff like that. And of course, we want to get you paid and compensated for your time. So everybody, please like, share, tell everybody, because 3D printing is endless. And if you have an idea, maybe we can make this come to life.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. It was a ton of fun.